Welcome back to the Casino Rama Grill Room. Toller Cranston, you're fired. Someone actually had the audacity to say that to you. Was it back in 1991, Toller, when you were fired from the CBC as a commentator, figure skating commentator?
I don't know if it was audacity that I would use. Probably good sense.
It takes balls, though, to fire Toller Cranston.
No, actually it takes a corporation against one person. That incident, which again is like, exhuming, bones from the grave. At the end of the day, when I won, not in glory, just sort of limped home and won, I did say in the court that the CBC taught me to tell the truth, and I taught them how to lie.
Interesting.
Within the thing. And what that said is, I thought naively, stupidly, that as the skater that I was, with the history that I have, that being the voice of the skater was what they wanted, or what the networks wanted. So I befriended every skater, and if a Russian was, say, better than a Canadian, I had to say it. What I didn't know, I figured this out years later, is that they really wanted kind of someone to moderate and entertain the audience more as an entertainer and not as a sports analyst. So in the big picture, I wasn't their guy. Because I can't really mince words about the very thing that is most important to me.
But you shouldn't
and that
have to as a commentator. That gets to a real big issue in this industry today, presenting the truth, or as you see the truth, and what you're expected to say.
That is what we think. That's what you and what I think. But in fact, what they wanted was entertainment that would charm people sitting in their living room watching the television. So perhaps there were a kind of a misunderstanding on both parties. As it also turned out, and hindsight is 20/20, I skated in a splendidly golden age of skating when skating was art and sport. I also was a commentator at a time which really went, like I said, one of the high points in figure skating history would have been the Olympics in '88 in Calgary. I mean, that was when everyone was just too fantastic for words. And then now, as it sort of slipped into almost a different kind of sport, I'm always asking people that talk about skating, strangers. The Olympics in Vancouver were 6 months post, and not a single person can even remember the champion.
So we just have about 30 seconds before we go to break. Can figure skating rebound in your eyes and get back sort of the artistic quality and really create an impression upon the Canadian public, or the North American, or the global public for that matter? Can it get back to where it used to be?
In the short term, absolutely not. And the Canadian viewing audience is the most educated of the world. In Europe, I mean, they could give a rat's ass about skating. They don't care. Thanks to Tonya Harding, if you recall, it was actually #2 in the world for a year. But what they need, and which cannot really happen, is somebody, male or female, to offer an alternative and ignite a new inspiration in the viewing audience where people say, this is what we want. But really, I don't think it can happen.
I got to wrap this up, Toller. We're going to take one more break. We're talking about your art that's on display here in Toronto at Sherwood Gardens. It's coming up right after this inside the Casino Rama Grill Room.